Okay, students, let's see the topic. Organic chemistry. Organic chemistry, we call it is general organic chemistry. General organic chemistry. Organic chemistry. Simply general organic chemistry. So very important topic in chemistry. Okay. So in this unit we have to learn about fundamentals of organic chemistry, what is organic chemistry and what type of compounds we have. Okay. So let's see the definition first of all. Organic chemistry means simple the study of carbon compounds. Simple carbon, the study of carbon and its compounds. Okay, it is the branch of chemistry organic chemistry is the branch of organic chemistry is the one of the branch of chemistry. So the study of carbon and its compounds. Okay, so in this unit we are going to study about carbon and its compounds. Okay, so now I would like to discuss about carbon. So what is the symbol of carbon? Symbol of carbon is C. Its atomic number 6. Number of electrons 6 electrons. Its atomic weight of carbon 12 grams and its electronic configuration So what is the electronic configuration of carbon? Right, 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Why? Because it has only 6 electrons. First the electron enter into 1s and next 2s2, then 2p2. Totally 6 electrons are there. So 2 plus 2, 4 plus 2, 6 electrons. So now this is the nucleus of the carbon. This is the first orbit and second orbit. What is the name of the first orbit? K and L. Am I right? So and also we represent n is equals to 1, n is equals to, am I right? First orbit number, second orbit number. Name of the first orbit is K. Name of the second orbit is L. Okay. So number of electrons where this number represents the orbit number. 1 means it is one or first orbit. So now write 1s2, clear. In the second orbit this is 2. That means these two are belongs to second orbit. So that is 2s2 and 2p2. Am I right? Now tell me this last orbit, what we call it is? This is orbit. Okay, orbit or cell or the last orbit is called as valency orbit or cell or outermost orbit we call it is. So number of electrons in the outermost cell of a carbon 2 plus 2, 4, am I right? This one is only outermost cell. This is the first and second. Last orbit is called as outermost cell. Okay, remember that. Now number of electrons in valency cell of carbon is 4, am I right? How many electrons are possible in the outermost cell? 4. Okay, this is it clear, all of you? And carbon is a non-metal. Carbon is a non-metal. It is not a metal. Okay, clear? This is about carbon. Just introduction. Let's see. Occurrence of carbon. Occurrence of carbon. That means where this carbon is available. Where we see the carbon. Okay. Let's see. Carbon exists free in nature. Free in nature. Carbon generally exists free. It is available in nature. Okay. In the elemental state, that means as element, carbon is as an element, in the elemental state, it is present in diamond and graphite. Diamond and graphite. You know very well about graphite, the pencil, and already know about diamond also. It is very precious stone. Okay. So in an element, diamond is an element, not a compound. Graphite is a element, not a compound. Element means carbon, hydrogen, nitrogens. Those are called as elements. In the elemental form, as an element, the carbon is present in diamond and graphite. So now tell me, diamond and graphite consider as a elements, not a compounds. Remember this. Okay, very good. Next, go for. Is it clear? These are elements. Diamond is the element of carbon. Graphite is the element of carbon, not a compounds. Okay, compounds means it is the number of atoms it consists, like different atoms. Okay. Now let's see. In the combined state, occurrence in combined state. So carbon available in the form of CO2, carbon dioxide, am I right? And carbon is there or not? Yes, in the form of carbon dioxide it available. And carbon monoxide. So in the 0.003 volume of carbon we have. Carbon in air, where V means volume. How much percentage of carbon dioxide available in air? 0.03%. Carbon monoxide is also available. So in the form of vulcanized, so during the volcanic gases we call it is, okay. So carbon dioxide is also available, okay. And magnesite, that we call it is magnesium carbonate, we call it is magnesite, and dolomite, where carbon is there or not? Yes, dolomite. So it is the composition of calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. So in the both carbon is available or not? Available. So these are all the sources for the carbon, okay. Calamine, that is zinc carbonate we call it is. So these three are very very important, okay. So and also carbon available in natural gas, and it is also in N-butane. N-butane means liquid petroleum gas. It is a hydrocarbon. It also consists carbon, am I right? Okay. For example, methane. In methane also we have carbon, CH4 formula. Carbon is there or not? It's carbon. Okay. Is it clear? And carbon compounds are the sources for the energy. Example, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, okay. So liquid petroleum gas, if you burn it, it produces the energy or not? Energy, okay, heat energy, it produces heat energy. So carbon compounds are the sources for the energies, okay. So example, liquid petroleum gas, if you burn it, what happen? It produces heat energy. So now this is the source of energy, am I right? Is it clear, all of you? So occurrence, that means where the carbon is available is called as occurrence. Is it clear, all of you? And carbon is also available in water also, natural water. Carbon is in natural water as carbonic acid, okay. Now suppose CO2 in H2O, it is liquid, this is gas, and it produces carbonic acid, H2CO3. What is the formula of carbonic acid, where carbon is there or not? This is the one of the source of carbon, carbonic acid. H2CO3. This is also one of the source for carbon. Is it clear, ma? Everyone? So let's see. Isotopes of carbon. So before going to discuss about this, we should need to learn about what is isotope. Okay. Isotope. Isotope means the atoms of same element, the atoms of same element, the atoms of same element having or have same atomic number, same atomic number and different mass number, different mass number is called isotopes. Let's see, this is the atom, this is the atom. Now its atomic number is Z. Suppose Z, suppose carbon, what is the atomic number? 6. Z means here this is the element, simple atom, we call it is atom. Z represents atomic number, atomic number. Atomic number means either number of electrons or protons. Protons means positive charge, electron means negative. So now this is A means mass number. What it is? Mass number, mass number. A is equals mass number, we call it is, clear? A is mass number. So now the atoms of same elements, let's see. Carbon is the atom of carbon element, you know. Now carbon shows three isotopes. One is, what is the atomic number? 6, 6, 6. So here 12, here it is 13 and it is 14. So these are, all are carbons or not? All the carbon belongs to same carbon element or not? These are the carbon atoms, belongs to same carbon element or not? Carbon element, same element. These all are belongs to carbon atoms which are belongs to same element carbon. So element means it is the combination of identical atoms, am I right? So carbon is the element, it consists to number of carbon atoms, remember that. Now these are the carbon atoms, belongs to same carbon element, am I right? Yes. Now all are having same atomic number or not? Atomic number is same, 6. Atomic number is same. Atomic number is same, am I right? And these are the mass numbers. Mass numbers are different or not? This is C12 isotope, C13 isotope, C14 isotopes we call it is. C12, C13, C14 isotopes. Okay? So mass number is different or not? Mass number is different. So these are called as isotopes. The atoms of same element having same atomic number and different mass numbers are called as isotopes. Now here carbons possess three types of isotope. One is C12, C13, C14. Okay. So generally natural carbon, most of the carbon as C12 form, C12 isotope. What we call it is C12 isotope. So 99% of carbon exists as C12. Remember this. 99 out of 100%, the most of the carbon available in the form of C12. Remember that. Okay. And 1% it is C13, nearly C13 isotope, and very trace amount, small amount, trace that is C14 isotope. We call it is C14 isotope. Very small amount it is. So mostly. Now this is the C12 isotope. Okay. Now not the point. C12 isotope is standard for to calculate atomic weights of atoms. So C12 mass is the standard to calculate atomic weights of another atoms also. Okay, if you need to calculate atomic weight of nitrogen and phosphorus, chlorine, C12 is the standard. So with respect to C12 we calculate the atomic weight of another atoms also. Okay, so we have the topic in stoichiometry, later we will discuss, just remember this point. Okay, so C12 isotope is standard for to calculate the atomic weights of atoms, different atoms. Is it clear? So in that most we have to learn about here C14 isotope. Okay, we call it is carbon dating. C14 we call it is, remember this, C14 isotope is called as carbon dating. Carbon dating. I will explain what is carbon dating. Carbon dating. Okay, so what is here? It is a radioactive dating. Radioactive carbon dating. We call it is carbon decay. Carbon decay phenomena. Carbon dating means, so every object having some carbon, am I right? So it takes time to decrease the carbon quantity. Depends on that time we can calculate the age of that object. Okay, age of the object. Historical objects we have stones like that and statues. So scientists can able to calculate their age at what time it is available. Okay, in the ancient days. Okay, we can calculate the age of that stone or object or statues depends on this C14 carbon. So how much quantity of C14 is decreases in that object, that is called as carbon dating. Based on this C14 isotope we can calculate the age of the historical objects. Very important point. So that we call it is carbon dating. Okay, so not that point. By using C14 isotope, scientists estimate the age of historical objects, maybe stones or statues. Okay, and trees, they can able to calculate age of tree also. Okay, so this is about isotopes of carbon. So write the notes properly, each and every point you should need to mention in the notes. I will check it after the class. So let's see. Organic means, organic, the term organic is related to life. Okay, so in the ancient days, organic compounds are produced from living organisms, the like plants and animals. So organic compounds are mostly present in plants and animals. So the origin of organic compounds are generally these natural plants and animals. Okay, is it clear? We have scientist C.W. Scheele. Is the name of the Scheele scientist, and he was isolated acids are the compounds which are sour in taste, acids from plants in initial days. He derived the isolated means separation. So from plants he separate the acids. Okay. So citrus fruit having acid, citrus acid, that is, it is the where it is present in the plant. Okay, remember this. So now Scheele was isolated acids and from plants, and A.L. Lavoisier told that organic compounds, according to Lavoisier, organic compounds contains, according to scientist Lavoisier, organic compounds contains, listen carefully, this is just introduction topic of organic chemistry. Okay, contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, chlorine, sulfur, etc. Okay, so these are called as oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, chlorine, sulfurs are called as heteroatoms. What we call it is heteroatoms up to carbon, nitrogen, heteroatoms. So organic compounds are having carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, chlorine, sulfur also. So the statement is given by Lavoisier. So Lavoisier, he is a father of modern chemistry. Who is father of modern chemistry? Lavoisier. Okay, is it clear up to? And about, that's very, very important, vital force theory. Vital force, in the ancient days they thought about how organic compounds are produced in the animals and plants. What is the reason for producing of organic compounds in the plants and animals means they thought that they had an idea regarding this. There are some forces or influences in the plants and animals that causes for the development of the organic compounds in the plants and animals. That forces are called as vital forces. Okay, so vital forces means organic compounds which are in plants and animals produced by influences of some natural forces, the forces which are in animals and plants. So natural forces, so is called called vital forces. The forces are called as vital forces and the theory is called as vital force theory. So some forces are caused for the development of or producing of organic compounds in animal and plants. They believe that, okay, especially these vital force theory is strongly believed by J.J. Berzelius. J.J. scientist J.J. Berzelius strongly support to this theory. He believed strongly vital forces are caused for the development of organic compounds. Okay, there are different ideas about origin of organic compounds, that way they are available and how they are available. Okay, these are ancient concepts, ancient theory. Okay, so is it clear? Vital forces caused for the development of or producing of organic compounds in animals and plants. So this theory mostly supported by or strongly supported by J.J. Berzelius. Okay, very important. And next go for synthetic organic compound. Synthetic organic compounds. That means compounds which were prepared in laboratory. In the lab based on scientific concepts, we have to prepare the compounds in the laboratory. If we prepare it in laboratory, then we call it as synthetic methods. Okay, synthetic methods. In laboratory, we can able to prepare the organic compounds. Okay, so the first synthesized or synthetic organic compound is urea. The first synthetic organic compound is urea. What it is? Urea. What is the formula for urea? CO NH2 NH2. We can also write as CO NH2. How many NH2 is here? We have 2. So taken 2. This is called urea. Okay. So it was prepared by, who prepared this in laboratory first? Euler. The scientist Euler first prepared this component in the laboratory. Okay. And it consists mostly inorganic elements. Inorganic elements like nitrogen and oxygen. Am I right? Nitrogen and oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, these are all inorganic elements generally. But so we expected this urea is an inorganic compound. We have two types of compounds, inorganic and organic. Organic means mostly they consist carbon and hydrogen. Okay, inorganic means mostly they consist or having oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfurs, hydrogen, like that. Okay, if carbon is present, that mostly we call it is organic compound along with hydrogen. So oxygen, nitrogen and phosphorus compounds are mostly called as inorganic elements. So if you observe in these compounds, oxygen is there, nitrogen is there. Okay, 2 nitrogen atoms here we have and 1 more oxygen. Most of inorganic elements are there. So we expected that urea is an inorganic compound, but it is not an inorganic compound, it is organic compound. Why? Because its property is similar to organic compounds. Okay, so it consists mostly inorganic elements like nitrogen and oxygen, but it is a organic compound, not a inorganic, compound. Remember this. So here is organic compound, not a inorganic compound. Even it consists most of inorganic elements. So reason is its properties similar to organic compounds. Its properties are similar to organic compounds. Is it clear? So now how to prepare urea according to Euler, scientist Euler. So we have ammonium cyanate. The name of the compound is ammonium cyanate. Ammonium cyanate is undergoes heating, it produces CO, NH2 and NH2. This is called urea. So calculate how many carbons are there? 1 here, 1. How many oxygens? 1. Hydrogens 4. 2 plus 2, 4. Nitrogens 1 plus 1, 2. Clear? So this is the method to prepare urea in the laboratory synthetically by Euler. Okay, is it clear? And also we can prepare it by using ammonium sulfate. React with potassium cyanate. It gives urea. It gives ammonium cyanate and potassium sulfate. This is ammonium sulfate. Okay, balance the equation once. Here we have 2 nitrogens, here 2, 4. Here we have 2 plus 2, 4. Here 2 carbons. Here we have 2 carbons. Here how many potassiums? 2 potassiums. Here we have 2 potassiums. Okay. So in that sulfur is 1. Sulfur 1. 2 4 ja 8 hydrogens. 2 4 ja 8 hydrogens. Oxygen 4 plus 2 6. Here 4 plus 2 6. Okay. This is ammonium acetate again. So now this ammonium acetate again heating or rearrangement, it produces urea, NH2 and NH2. This is urea. This is also the method for preparation of urea. This, what is the name of this one? Ammonium sulfate. Is it clear, ma, all of you? Ammonium sulfate. Potassium cyanate. What we call it is potassium cyanate. Potassium cyanate. We know already. Ammonium cyanate, potassium sulfate. Okay. These are the methods to prepare urea by scientist Euler. Okay. The first synthetic organic compound is called as urea by scientist Euler. Remember that. Next, another scientist, Kolbe, is there. Kolbe, he prepared acetic acid. It is also prepared in laboratory. CH3COOH is the acetic acid. Okay. Now it consists carbon and hydrogen and oxygen also. Am I right? It is also organic compound, Kolbe. And Breathlett prepared methane. What is the formula for methane? CH4. Methane is prepared by Brathwaite. He is also scientist. Okay, and Kekulé and Cooper suggested that they introduced what they told carbon has tetravalency. Tetravalency. I will explain what is tetravalency. So carbon has the tetravalency. Who proposed that? Kekulé and Cooper. These are both scientists who proposed that carbon has tetravalency. Tetravalency means, so carbon atomic number is 6, am I right? Write its electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, clear? How many electrons are present in the outermost cell? 4. So 4 valence electrons. These electrons are called as valency electron. Why these are present outermost? Already we discussed initially. Okay, 4 electrons. So in the valency cell, how many electrons are possible? 4 electrons. So carbon can able to form 4 bonds. 4 bonds. Here number of bonds is called its valency. So its valency is 4. How many bonds are able to form carbon? 4 bonds. For example, in methane, how many bonds are possible? Structure of methane is like this. How many bonds are possible around carbon? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbons are there. So it is called tetravalency. Tetravalency means a carbon can able to form 4 bonds around it. Okay, is it clear? That was proposed by Kekulé and Cooper. Okay, and Van Hoff suggested that he is also one of the scientists. Van Hoff, according to Van Hoff and Liebel, both are scientists, they proposed that carbon compounds are, carbon has tetrahedron, carbon has tetrahedron, carbon has tetrahedron. Who proposed that? Van Hoff and Liebel. Tetrahedron means this is the carbon, am I right? How many bonds it can able to form? 1, 2, 3, 4, am I right? This is called tetrahedral shape. What is this structure? Tetrahedral or tetrahedron. This arrangement is called tetrahedron. Suppose here it is hydrogen, this is hydrogen, this is hydrogen. So carbon has tetrahedral structure that is proposed by Van Hoff and Liebel. Okay, very very important. Okay, is it clear, ma? This is about just fundamental information about organic chemistry. We call it is general organic chemistry. Okay. So carbon has tetravalence. Who proposed it? Kekulé and Cooper. So Brathwaite proposed methane and Kolbe acetic acid and Euler urea. What is the first synthesis? Synthetic organic compound in the laboratory? Urea already exists in human beings. Okay, urea present in urine also, animal urine. Okay, so it is already there, but in the synthetically he prepared in the laboratory. Okay. Next come to allotropy of carbon. First of all, I would like to discuss about allotropy. Okay, allotropy means the element which exists in different forms usually have same physical state, but different physical properties and same chemical properties is called allotropy. What we call it is? We call it allotropy. Okay? So let's see, if you take the carbon, okay? Just a minute. So if you take the carbon, okay, carbon having different forms, the element which exists in different forms. Example, diamond. Which element is present? Carbon. And in graphite, which element is present in graphite? Carbon. Both are crystals. In which state? What is the physical state of both? Crystalline state. Both are in crystalline. Physical state is same or not? Same. Both are carbon in different form or not? One is diamond, another one is graphite. So the element, that means carbon, which exists in different forms. One is diamond, another one is graphite, having same physical state, but their physical properties are different, chemical properties are same. Physical properties means like their boiling point, melting point, colors, physical state. Okay, is it clear? Everyone, physical property. Chemical properties means how they react with another compounds. That is similar both for diamond and graphite. But in the case of their physical properties are different. Here carbon is the same elements. It is in different form. One is diamond, another one is graphite. Both physical state is same. That is in crystalline state. Am I right? Okay, that is the definition of allotrope. Carbon shows allotropics. Okay, so let's see different allotropes of carbon. Okay, carbon shows the following allotropes. Crystalline allotrope. In the crystalline allotropes we have diamond and graphite. What is the element in diamond? Carbon. What is the element in graphite? Carbon. Okay, and lamp black, it is also consists carbon. It is one of the allotropic form of, okay, and coal, okay, in that we have coke and gas coal. These are also isotopes of carbon. And another isotopes of charcoal we have charcoal. In that charcoal we have bone charcoal. these are types of carbons: bone charcoal and sugar charcoal and animal charcoal. Animal charcoals. So carbon exists in different forms. These are all the sources for carbons. Okay. So in diamond we have carbon and graphite. These are all different allotropes. Same element. All are having carbon only. Same element in different forms. Okay. These are the crystalline. Okay. Is it clear? So now these are all belongs to amorphous. Amorphous means amorphous isotopes. Amorphous isotopes of carbons. This one is crystalline isotope. These are all amorphous. Okay. Amorphous means, simply remember that, powder like. Simply just powder like. That is called as amorphous. Okay. Is it clear? Bone charcoal. Charcoal means nothing but of coal. Simple. Okay. Now third important allotropic form, that is important allotropic form of carbon is C60 carbon. C60 carbon. We call it is fullerene. Fullerene. And another name is C60 Buckminster fullerene. We call it is Buckminster fullerene. It is like, the structure of C60 is saucer football like. Football. How saucer football we have? So hexagonal structure it has. Hexagonal structures, football structure, you know. So like football structure it has hexagonal, some of the rings are hexagonal, some of the rings are pentagonal. Okay. Like football structure, just remember, I draw the diagram roughly like football structure, you know, saucer football. Okay. So no need to do this diagram. Saucer football structure. Okay. C60. It is also one of the isotopic form of carbon. Okay. Is it clear, ma? Third isotopic form. Let us discuss about crystalline allotrope of carbon, that is diamond. Okay. What it is? Diamond. Listen carefully. So in diamond carbon is bonded with another 4 carbon atoms tetrahedrally. What is that? Tetrahedrally. Okay. Let's see. These dots represents the carbons. What it is? Carbon. This carbon bonded with 4 other carbon atom or not. So this structure is called as tetrahedral structure. Tetrahedral structure. Hybridization of this carbon is sp3 hybridization. What is the hybridization of this carbon? sp3. For this also sp3. For this also sp3. Why? Because it can able to bond with another 4 carbon like that. So now what is the hybridization of each carbon? sp3. Now the bond length, Cc bond length is 1.54 angstrom. Cc bond length is 1.54 angstrom. And bond angle, Cc bond angle. See this C and see this bond angle is 109 degrees 28 minutes. What? How to write? Bond angle is 109 degrees 28 minutes. C bond angle. See this bond angle is 109 degrees 28. Okay. So covalent bonds are present. Covalent bonds are present in diamond. Diamond is a covalent bond. Strong bonds there. Remember this. And it is a bad electrical conductor. It is a bad electrical conductor due to absence of free electrons. Free electrons. If electrons are available, freely moving electrons are available, then it is called good electrical conductor. There is no free electrons in diamond, so it is a bad electrical conductor. Remember that. So it is a strong material and also very precious. Remember that. And next go for graphite. Graphite, it is also consist carbon. Okay, am I right? So each carbon with 3 other carbon atoms. Okay, this is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon. Am I right? Each carbon bonded with 3 other carbon atoms. Hybridization of this carbon is sp2 and bond angle is, this is C, this is also C, am I right? This is also C. The bond angle CC bond angle is 120 degrees. 120 degrees. Bond angle is how much? Bond angle 120 degrees. So it is two dimensional hexagonal polymeric structure. Hexagonal polymer structure, I will explain. Okay. It is a good electrical conductor. Good electrical conductor. Is it clear? It is a good electrical conductor. Reason, it has pure p electrons. P means p orbital. In p orbitals it has free electrons are there. So where free electrons are available, it is a good electrical conductor. So about this topic we will discuss about in 14th group also. Okay, is it clear? So this is just introduction about diamond and graphite in general organic chemistry. Okay, the bond length is 1.42 angstroms. Okay, clear? So hexagonal means this is the structure. Hexagon. How many corners it has? 6. How many corners it has? 6. Hexagon means like this. Okay. So two dimensional. It is a 3D structure. It is a three-dimensional polymer. 3-dimensional polymer. So strong one, weak. Okay, where we use in graphite, in pencil also. Okay. So weak covalent, van der Waals forces are there. Okay, we will discuss in 14th group also. This is just introduction. Okay, we will meet again on tomorrow. Okay, have a nice day.